Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Sideshow 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the ghost with the most, Beetlejuice. Now if you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Sideshow content goes live on the channel. Dude, come on, this box art is so freaking cool. I mean, I go on way too long sometimes about figure boxes, and y'all give me shit for doing so in the comment section. But not this time, surely. This box art design in terms of execution and concept is perfect. It's made to look like an old school VHS cover. And not a brand new one at that. It's been kicking around a Blockbuster for a while. We've got a peeling off comedy sticker. This is just all part of the print. The entire thing is done in a matte finish. There's scuffs printed on the surface, the rough edges. I might just have to find a way to display this behind the figure in my collection. That's how much I love it. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. And the colours they went with. The orange, the blue, the yellow, the figure photography on the side of the box. Everything pops. It genuinely looks and feels so convincing. The cutout down below with the black inner box poking through as though that's the VHS inside the sleeve. Genius. They've really done a number on me. Usually I don't rant and rave this much about figure boxes in the unboxing segment because we're here to see the main event, the figures inside the boxes. But I am today. I know I'm gushing. I'm not apologizing for it. I'm pretty sure you can tell why. Them cashing in on the 80s, 90s nostalgia with the VHS slipcover on the box? I'm surprised more companies haven't done this. Around the back, there's a read-up. It's quite extensive. Feel free to pause to read it. Some figure photography, including one shot of a tombstone that you can't buy. More on that a little bit later. Then down below, Sideshow's website, and warnings and legal information. The cockroaches. The little cheeky cockroach just dotted around the place on the box underneath the slipcover. So here for it. We've got an open window showcasing Beetlejuice and some of his accessories inside. The rest of the stuff he comes with on a separate layer underneath this top one. Even more cockroaches on the back of the box, and this blue band wraps all the way around from the front cover. You know, it's funny. A little while ago now, when this figure was first announced, I already had a custom head sculpt for my 1.0 Sideshow Beetlejuice in the works. I reviewed the stock figure, then installed the custom head sculpt on it, and for the longest time, I've been happy with that. But now that this guy's in hand, the question is, can he dethrone my custom Beetlejuice? First in-hand impressions? So far, so good. I'm liking the weight of the body, and that head sculpt, even though the hair is going to require some styling, looks promising. What we're going to do now is get all of Beetlejuice's accessories laid out in the light box, and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Which shouldn't take us very long because it's mostly hands. Unfortunately, no tombstone. This tombstone I got with the help of a buddy in the States from Spirit Halloween. It's a little bit too small for 1/6, but at least I have a tombstone. You see, they released one back in the day, but it was a standalone purchase, and even though they made a new Beetlejuice, they never reissued the frickin' tombstone. Very frustrating. The Hot Toys figure is coming with a tombstone, but from Sideshow, you simply can't get one. Starting off with the display base first. Typical Sideshow hexagonal base mold. It's pretty chonky if I'm honest, so it will give him a height boost in the collection. At least, they've printed the Beetlejuice logo on top of the base this time. Usually they put their logos on the underside, which makes absolutely no sense. This is way better. It's done in high gloss against a matte background. Then up top, a height adjustable crotch grabber with soft rubber tips on it to protect the outfit from damage. Look, I'm still sour about that tombstone, but they've done one nice thing for us. This previously, if I'm remembering correctly, the handbook for the recently deceased was a Sideshow exclusive accessory with the 1.0. This time, there is no Sideshow exclusive. So with the one and only standard version, you get this accessory. It's not an actual book, it's just sculpted plastic, and the printing is a little lackluster. When customizers out there are making real books with actual printed pages, I would like to see Sideshow do better than this. Then lastly, a full array of hands, and the detail on these hands is crazy. The skin texture, the vein work, look at those veins popping out. The gross, bloody fingernails, they're nice and shiny. There's the ring on his pointer finger on the left side hands for every single one of them. The gem looks metallic, the band is also shiny. Then there's wrist pegs on every hand. No need to worry about breakages because you've got so many frickin' spares. These are almost like gripping hands, but this one's meant to be paired up with the nail file, I reckon. See what I mean? It's perfect for the nail filing pose. The file itself is pre-attached to this hand with the fingers sticking out, sculpted detail front and back, and the silver paint they've used for it is nice and shiny. Then we've got two splayed out finger hands with the fingers curled in a touch. Then two more splayed out finger hands, but they're not curled in at all. Two semi-gripping hands with his fingers once again curled in. And two pointing finger hands. The left ones are brighter in terms of the skin tone than the right ones. I need to check reference to see if that's screen accurate. But compared to the hands that came with Beetlejuice 1.0 from them, sculpt is sharper with the new ones, but that's probably a byproduct of the material choice if I had to guess, because these fingers are rubbery, whereas the new ones, they're a lot more rigid. And the skin tone doesn't lean as red as the 1.0's hands. What we're going to do now is get the ghost with the most himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that, before you freak out and head down to the comment section to tell me, Justin, that looks absolutely terrible. Couldn't you have put some work in first and then showed it to us? Yes, and I will put the work in, I'll do the styling in a minute, but I wanted to show you what he looks like out of the box and on the turntable. This is not a figure that you can unbox and display without doing any styling. You need to style his hair. There's way too much of it, and there's no product in it. But, ignoring the hair, I know that's difficult to do. The proportions look good. I like the tailoring on the outfit. It's fully weathered. There's weathering on the boots. And the face part of the head sculpt, even from a distance, looks like Michael Keaton. Which isn't something that I could say about the original. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Beetlejuice's head sculpt. If you're sitting there right now thinking, Justin, what did you do? Why did you buy this? I'm sort of feeling the same way, to be totally honest, but just the face part of the head sculpt is promising. With some styling, it may be salvageable. You see, the reason for this voluminous mess on his head is the factory they glued the hair on, and that's where manufacturing ended. There is not a lick of hair product in this untamed green mane. With some styling and a lot of futzing, I think this head sculpt will come to life, so off camera, let me give it a try. Et voila, an hour and a half and a lot of patience later, this is the end result of my Beetlejuice 1/6 scale styling session. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but am I happy with it? Yes. For the most part, I am. I could probably spend another hour and a half on this and I still wouldn't be 100% satisfied, but you gotta call it done at some point, and this is how I'm going to pop him in the cabinet after this video is complete. The hair is not that really easy to work with artisan / in-art quality wool hair. This stuff is synthetic, so it doesn't take to product well, and using the Figure First Aid Kit spray bottle and styling brush, I found that was the easiest way to accomplish this. I prefer my Beetlejuice to have less hair, so I might cut some of it down, but like I said, for now, this is how I'm going to be displaying him. Let's discuss the hairline. On my copy, it's very obvious there's this straight cut across the sculpt, but I've seen some others on the Facebook groups, and they don't look quite as bad as this. Does the seam up top ruin this head sculpt for me? Nah, not even close. There's some sculpted moldy bits that soften it in certain sections, and he wore a wig in the film anyway. Does it sound like I'm making excuses? Yeah, a bit, but if you're worried about it, at least now you know it's a possibility. It might be there on your copy. You could always contact Sideshow and see if they can give you a replacement sculpt. Let's move on from the hair and discuss the face itself. Does this look like Michael Keaton? As Beetlejuice? Yeah, I can see the likeness coming through from every angle. Then the paint applications are very impressive. Sideshow every now and then does wow me, and this is one of those cases. 5 o'clock shadow down below. He's got this green paint app over his sculpted moustache. The moldy bits are textural, like you can feel all of this stuff on the surface. The wrinkles behind and around his ears, I don't know why that stuff stands out to me, but it does. And the eyes have been painted off at a slight angle. It's subtle, but it makes the head sculpt that bit more expressive. The teeth, though, the glossy gums, the janky looking asymmetrical sculpt work for the teeth themselves, nasty, but perfect for Beetlejuice. The quality of this head sculpt is undeniable. Like, even from the side profile, you can tell that's Keaton. The signature lip curl over the top of his teeth, the shape of his nose, the furrowed brow area. If you've got this piece on the way and you're willing to style the hair, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. The only other thing to be aware of with this sculpt is it's a split cut design. The neck is not part of the sculpt, it's part of the body. So there's a seam underneath his chin that is visible from the side, and there's a skin tone mismatch between the head and the neck, but from the 3/4 turn you start to lose it, and from front on, it's not even visible. His proportions are pretty interesting. You can flare out the shoulder pads for the suit jacket to make him look more boxy, but he's narrow up there. Then there's this big rotund pot belly thanks to all this padding. I've seen some people remove the padded fat suit, but I'm going to keep it. It reminds me of when he's talking to Adam in the model and he inflates his belly. The shirt over the top of the padding, absolutely disgusting. The collar, filthy. There's even some green paint. I'm not sure if that's overspray or if it's meant to be there, but there's some green grossness, some black wash dripping down, some brown in certain sections. The cuffs poking out from his suit jacket, also dirty. The jacket itself, it's less weathered than the shirt, but there's definitely some grime on it. And it's lined on the inside with a pattern. This tie also has the pattern on it. The studs are meant to be there. The length of it is about right, but it should just be black fabric, no pattern. I'm not sure why they added it, because I've looked at reference, really not supposed to be there. He does have the watches on. They poke out from underneath the shirt cuff, but the jacket sleeve is way too tight, so trying to bring them out any further, it simply isn't going to happen. I've tried for ages, but when you pull the watches out, then the cuff for the shirt comes out and you can't tuck that in. Maybe you'll have more luck with it than I've had. Ooh, there's a real button on the suit jacket. Is there a slot for it to go into on the other side? No, there isn't. You could cut one in there. I don't recommend it because you could do damage to the jacket, and there's so much padding for the belly, it would almost be impossible for you to do it up anyway. Not worth the hassle. The material choice for the jacket is a thin, lightweight 2-ply fabric. It drapes well, but it's structured, it's not overly wrinkly. And there's a textured weave on the surface. Plus, the black stripes are screen printed. There was an issue with the first batch of this guy where the black stripes, the dye was rubbing off on people's fingers, but it seems they've since rectified it because I've not had that problem. I've been handling him this whole time and there's not a single speck of black dye on my fingers, so they've solved it. Coming down to his pants, there's some padding for his thighs. It ends around here. You can see the step down when you pull the pants taut, but normally you wouldn't spot that. It's a thicker foam versus what they've used on the upper torso. This is significantly squishier. Real pockets up top, functional belt loops but no belt, and a Velcro closure for the fly. Mine is currently coming undone. Someone's going to clip that. Not my fly. Bloody Beetlejuice's fly is coming undone. Now, his pants are tucked into the top of his flared-out sculpted boots, but they don't have to be. You could always untuck them if you wanted, but this is movie accurate. The boots are reused from the original Beetlejuice. Sculpt work still holds up. The leather grain texture, the wrinkling and the buckling, like right there, the eyelets, which have been individually painted in metallic silver. Then there's this brown dry brush over everything, sculpted detail around the edge of the sole, and even some tread on the underside. For a quick side-by-side comparison, we'll punch in a minute and do this properly closer up. But right now, Sideshow on the left, my custom head sculpt on the Sideshow 1.0 body on the right, it is a night and day difference. Not talking about the head sculpts, the body and the outfit. There's more weathering on the new one. The new body is ever so slightly taller than the original, and the proportions to me look superior with the 2.0 piece. Then, the head sculpts. Certain things I prefer about my custom head, but there's no denying that Sideshow sculpt is the superior of the two. And that's coming from someone who spent way too much on this custom head sculpt. It's still got a place in my collection, but the Sideshow one just looks more like Keaton to me. For a much closer up comparison, I'm still gobsmacked that the custom has been dethroned. I still appreciate the work that went into it. It was made to my own specifications, and I brightened up the skin tone. But the likeness, to me, just comes through a lot stronger on the Sideshow piece. I might do some more work on the hair after this video is done, but for now, if I had to pick, I'm going with the figure on the left over and above my custom. Going over articulation, starting off with Beetlejuice's head sculpt. Split cut at the neck, no point of articulation at the base of it, double ball peg underneath the head itself. Looking forward, extremely limited to there. Looking up, less limited to there. Swivel, and a little bit of pivot side to side. His arms will go up at the shoulders to there, not as much as I was expecting, but completely flushed down by his sides. Going forward and back, there's a butterfly joint that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, but when you do that, the sleeves, they get pulled down and the wrist pegs are exposed. There's enough excess fabric going on here, you can pull this over the wrist peg to hide it, or on the left side, just use the watches. Speaking of the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. Heavily padded torso crunching forward to there, about what I was expecting. Going back to there, further than forward at least. Swivel and pivot side to side. His legs will go forward to there, pretty restricted because of the padding for the thighs. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, going past 90. There is a ball joint inside the boots. They're made of this thick PVC that's not very flexible. There's almost no give to them. Forward and back, rotation, and maybe a touch of ankle tilt. Wrapping up on Sideshow's second attempt at Beetlejuice. Is this better than their first one? Yes. That's not saying much because the first one was so far from being perfect, it's not even funny. This one is perfect adjacent. It's almost there. It's so close to being there. The head sculpt is Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice for me. I can see the likeness. The outfit, well tailored, if not a touch tight in certain places, but I can get around that. And it's fully weathered. Plus a ton of hands with so much detail on them. The only thing that lets this guy down, except for the sculpted plastic book for the recently deceased that I wish was an actual book, is the rooted hair. Raw, untamed, unstyled, artificial hair on this head right out of the box. It should have been styled from the factory. Forcing collectors to do it themselves? It's never a great option. Because some of us can do it, but I sure as shit struggled. I sat down for ages trying to get this hair to look good, and I still don't think I nailed it. So go in knowing that if you're picking this guy up, you'll be spending a lot of time moonlighting as a 1/6 scale hairstylist. If that doesn't bother you, you may just have your perfect 1/6 scale Beetlejuice after the hair is styled. I can't wait to compare him to the upcoming Hot Toys figure from the sequel, but for now, colour me impressed with this. Except for the hair. Now if you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Sideshow or Beetlejuice content goes live on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.